What's up, guys? Today we are finally going to be putting mufflers on the second gen. This thing has been ruined for far too long. But for those that are new, I say we give them the full experience. True to straight pipes. You know what? I actually changed my mind. I don't even want to go drive it down the road with it sounding like this ever again. Let's get this thing in the shop one last time, climbing on in, straight clap wagon, and then hopefully this thing is going to sound a whole lot better after we throw these mufflers on. Now that we got it in the shop, that is probably the last time you will ever hear straight piped 5.9 here on this channel. Unless, of course, we get a Cummins in the future, in which case, yes, please straight pipe. But as far as the gas burner goes, never again. That was by far the loudest, most obnoxious vehicle I have ever owned. Now, if you missed the first video on the exhaust, I got it because all of y'all commented saying that that was a setup that I should get above any other setup. And so that was a man of my word. I went and got it. But holy crap, never freaking again. It was just ridiculous. But today we're hopefully going to be making this thing sound really good and nowhere near as loud. Now, I didn't want to spend a bunch of money either, and so it might end up being really freaking loud still, but hopefully not as loud and still sound good. Either way, these are the mufflers that we're going to be putting on, and by the old Harbor Freight welder right here, we're going to be doing it ourselves. So these are single chamber mufflers from Amazon. I think it was 64 bucks for 2 mufflers. They're not very thick. That's probably like 6-inch mufflers. 2.5 inch. I think that is the same size of exhaust pipe that they used. Hopefully they didn't use 2 1/4 because we're gonna have to fill the gap, and I don't really feel like doing that. But hopefully it's not gonna be that difficult to install this, because I asked them when I put the exhaust on to give me a little bit of space so that I could put mufflers on this thing, but they didn't give me too much space. That's freaking for sure. So this right here is gonna have to be our space to use, and we're not too far from the freaking drive shaft. Holy crap, what the crap were they thinking? They did not give me the room that I requested. What the heck? We're gonna try to squeeze them both in here somewhere. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna grab the Sawzall and we're gonna cut one of these pipes off and figure out where we're gonna stick these mufflers. Are these gonna be able to stack side by side? Do we even want to stack them side by side? I feel like we might want to have them kind of angled and then smack the other one right here. All right. One down. Let's see if we can slip it on there like I was thinking. There we go. All right. So we could technically do her like that. Definitely got quite the gap to fill. Let me go ahead and catch up to speed on what route I think is going to be the best option for going from the 2 1/4 pipe to the 2.5 inch muffler. Now, obviously, the best option is to order the correct size muffler to go on your pipe, but clearly we are far past that point. Made that mistake. So here's the pipe that we cut out, right? So this is what's still up underneath the truck. We need to go into this 2.5 inch muffler. Well, that's a pretty large gap, and honestly, if we were wanting to fill that with the welder, I'd be shocked if it would, and it would definitely take forever, and it'd be horrible. So I went in the basement, went through my exhaust stack, and just started sticking this pipe into other pipes until I came across this, which was off a chomper actually. And as you see, it fits right on it. Yeah, there's a little gap around it, whatever. You want to take this guy and you want to put it in your muffler. This is going to be a material filler. So we're just basically going to weld all 3 of them together just like that. And I've got our muffler twisted in here nice and high. Should be clean. Shouldn't be able to really see it unless you're far off from the truck or whatever. And then we're going to stick the second one right back there. Same fashion. So let me get a little practice in on this guy. I'll catch up with y'all for the second one. And y'all can roast me in the comments, because y'all already know them wheels ain't going to be pretty. Our exhaust is officially on. It's far from pretty, and I would not be surprised if we have some major exhaust leaks to go back and try to fix, patch, repair, whatever the case. But I say it's time for us to go ahead and crank this thing and hopefully hear a much quieter, better sounding exhaust note. Well, drop a comment and let me know how it came across your ears, but to me, it definitely has a lot different tone and pitch. The volume is nowhere near what it was, although it is still definitely very loud. Kind of has an old school sound to it now. So we'll go drive her in just a minute and see if it's something that we actually like, or if this ends up just being a temporary setup to get us to the exhaust shop to put whatever mufflers we end up deciding on. But I think she's gonna sound pretty good, but I do also think it's still gonna be really loud while driving. So I got some exhaust leaks to fix because I'm not good at welding and I don't practice when I should. I definitely should practice, and then I get on here and I try sticking metal pieces together, and it doesn't always work the first time, and it definitely ain't pretty, I'll admit that. But hey, if it works, it works. So we're gonna end up making it work. So I'm gonna get that knocked out. I'll catch back up with y'all. We'll go take this thing for a spin, see how she sounds. Raptor R-bogging out of here. Let me introduce you to a horsepower, sir. 5.9. Oh my, dude, this thing sounds just like a 5.3 with a catback true duals on it now. This truck from the inside sounds so similar to what Baby Squat used to. I can't even lie to y'all. I think these $60 mufflers just absolutely saved the second gen's life. Dude, they sound really good. They're deep. That's 2,000 RPMs and it's pretty freaking quiet. Now, of course, this is still very choppy because it is true dual. So if you don't like chop, it doesn't matter what we do. You're not gonna like this exhaust setup. But under 2,000 RPMs, it's not even choppy. It's kind of like a mellow kind of sound, at least from the interior. It might be from the outside real choppy, but we'll get over 2,000 right here and let y'all hear it. It opens up a good bit, but it is definitely completely manageable, unlike it was prior. Yeah, so like 2,500 and up, you gets real choppy. It definitely gets louder. Dude, that is good. That is so good. That is exactly what this truck needed. It sounds proper now. She sounds just like an old school true dual setup, man. Nothing too crazy. Nice tone to it. Loud enough to be, you know, there when you want it, but also when you're cruising, it ain't getting on your nerves. It ain't ruining everybody's day just taking off anymore. This is really nice. I'm, like I said, really impressed with these mufflers. Going across this bridge, we're gonna dip off here in a little bit, get a little echo effect. Dude, it sounds like a freaking 5.3 now. It sounds good. Holy crap. Hopefully it's translating through the camera to y'all. It always tends to get higher pitch sounding than it is in person. Dude, that's freaking nice. I'm fully impressed. 10 out of 10. Fully impressed. Here we go. See, I don't feel like I ruined their day. I just don't. Now, it might be louder on the outside, obviously, than what I'm perceiving it as on the inside, because it is pointed out basically straight out the back of the exhaust or the back of the truck. But still, it is worlds better. Holy freaking crap. Now, y'all know this thing doesn't love to rev. It's got the very slow deceleration for whatever reason, whether that's a vacuum leak, a valve leak, or I don't freaking know what, but we're gonna rev her anyways. Get a little idle action. Dude, it sounds freaking good. Now, take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because I have not looked back over the footage to see what this thing sounds like from the outside. I am purely basing what I'm about to say off of my experience driving on the inside, but with the windows down, of course. But there is definitely a huge difference from being inside the truck versus outside perceiving it that way. So, yeah, haven't looked back at that, but it sounds really freaking good to me, and it's a ton better than it was before. The true dual straights, 10 canny at certain RPMs. Overbearingly loud, of course, and then it seems like it almost changed the tone, like the vol. How do I describe this? The exhaust pulses. Before, it seemed like it was a much quicker exhaust pulse, like a, versus now it's like a. Sound like the platypus out here, but maybe that makes sense. It's obviously a ton deeper now as well, and quieter. Not quiet, but quieter. But I still feel like those pulses are less quick together, which I guess makes sense because they're having to force themselves through a muffler, which it isn't packing or anything. It's just a chambered muffler, so it's got like metal pieces inside. Somebody smart somewhere put that together. Maybe I don't know, kindergartner did as well, probably do the same thing. Either way, I am very pleased, dude. I think these were the cheapest paired mufflers that I could find on Amazon. And I didn't have my hopes up very high, I'll be honest. I was just wanting it quieter, and I was like, I don't want to spend a bunch of money. How do I make it quieter? Looked it up on Amazon. It had some good reviews. Some people saying that it is quieter than they were expecting, which I could definitely see that being the case. If you're wanting to quiet your overly loud truck down, this would be a great option. If you're wanting a little bit less volume out of your truck, probably wouldn't go with these, because even though they are small, they're not packed, they're just chambered, they took out a bunch of volume. Now, obviously, if you have a setup like this, going from here to that, we still have quite a bit of volume, but it is dramatically quieter, which is exactly what I was hoping for. So they actually did more than I was thinking they were, and I'm not mad about it whatsoever. I am actually going to be able to drive the truck because, honestly, I think this thing has touched the pavement twice since the True Duels, and that was just to film the 2 videos that it was in. Actually, the exhaust video and then the comparison between Larry and the OBS. So yeah, I haven't driven it whatsoever, and I used to drive this thing all over the place. So now we actually can, because, man, I know if I don't like hearing it while I'm driving it, you definitely didn't like hearing me going by your house or your car or your kids out playing baseball. Hawk. Them hawks been loving life, boy. I've been cutting grass, cutting the field. Rats be running out. They just sitting out there. Pew, pew. And also let me know, what do you want to see next on the old 2nd gen? Honestly, kind of want to sell it and get a Cummins. I got behind a guy today. We like kind of carved up some back roads. I was in Reggie, which is a 5-speed V8. The guy in front of me was in a 2-door 2nd gen standard bed. It wasn't like super long, but it's longer than this bed. Probably just a normal bed for a 2-door. Anyways, manual as well. And he was rolling some coal on me, grabbing gears. It was freaking fun. It was disgusting sounding. And it really made me want a Cummins. I always want a Cummins, but gosh, dog. The only thing is this truck looks so incredibly good. Obviously, it doesn't have the performance. It ain't a diesel. It can't roll coal. But it's blue. It's in pretty good shape. It looks glorious. But I kind of want to sell it and get a Cummins. I definitely don't need 2 2nd gens in my life, that's for sure. But that's going to be about it for this video, guys. So definitely drop a comment. Leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. Ring that bell notification. I'll see y'all boys in the next one.